Hello again, rail fans. I have had a number of questions lately about railroad locomotive bells. A lot of folks have been asking about it. Mainly, why do trains have bells? They've got those loud horns. What do they need bells for? Well, as usual, when I go searching for answers for folks, I learn a lot of things in the process. My search took me to a group called the National Bell Festival and their website, bells.org. A treasure trove of history about bells of all kinds, if you want to know some more. And I got a bunch of answers from those guys. Now, as a rule, I don't do shout-outs on this channel, but sometimes you got to break the rules. And a guy recently did me a favor, got me some good information on some stuff. A guy named Tim Fallon, here in the Tampa Bay area. He's a hydrogeologist with the Southwest Florida Water Authority. And by coincidence, his daughter Nora is a big fan of the channel. So hi to Nora. Thanks for watching us, and it's much appreciated. Also, I'm sending out a big thank you to Russell and Tucker Dostal of Lakeland, Florida. This father and son rail fan team sent me that Atlantic Coastline Herald there for the fence. Even though it's a replica sign, it's technically accurate and it's on solid steel. So that will hold the place there until and if I ever come across a real white background ACL 6-State Herald. Might be waiting a long time for that. So thanks, Dostals of Lakeland, for that generous and beautiful sign. Now let's get to the story of why locomotives have bells. In DeLand, Florida, a Sunrail commuter train is ready to depart southward on its run toward Sanford, Orlando, and Kissimmee. When he blows the horn for the road crossing at the end of the platform, the locomotive bell begins ringing. For whom does the bell toll, you ask? Well, it tolls for thee, if thee be a pedestrian or livestock or pet anywhere near the track. So it's been since almost the beginning of railroading in America. The bell on U.S. Sugar 148 demonstrates how loud locomotive bells were in the early years. Large and made of solid brass or bronze, there's no missing its warning. Almost as loud as the steam engine's whistle. The bell keeps on ringing as its cord is being pulled by a rotating crank, most likely powered by air pressure. Through most of the 19th century, all of the 20th, and into the first quarter of this 21st century, locomotives still have bells. This phosphate train is led by a GE AC-44CW, built in the 1990s and modernized recently by Wabtec with some new emissions controls and electronics and the ability to burn biodiesel fuel. It's now labeled a CM44AC. But even with new paint and all the new gadgetry, it still has its original equipment pneumatic bell in front of the fuel tank. Note how the bell keeps ringing long after he's over the crossing. The engineer has left the bell on as he moves into the yard, where there is likely to be a number of employees on the ground. The crew on CSXT 4720 are making up their empty ethanol train to leave Tampa. They have to pull high to the north end of the yard to change tracks and shove back onto their train. The engineer is ringing the bell because he sees us rail fans on the ground near the crossing. This engine has an electronic bell, and it's on the other side, so it's not as loud for us, but you can still hear it above the rumble of the engines. We're out here to catch this special CSX tribute unit, painted with a special blue and their One CSX Initiative logo. It also has the badges of the 14 union crafts that serve CSX. As As it turned out, locomotive bells are not that easy to catch on camera. Where I go, the trains are usually on the move, like on this April early morning in Cordele, Georgia. Watch the lead engine down at the fuel tank. See if you can spot the E-bell there. If you didn't see it, you're not alone. I didn't see it until I got the video back home to my editing room. We'll try to catch one on the next train. I-141 is daily intermodal business that originated from North Baltimore, Ohio's ICTF and runs to Duval Yard in Jacksonville, Florida, stopping to work as many as 5 yards along the way. Cordele is where 3 railroads cross at grade: the CSX Fitzgerald sub, the Norfolk Southern's GS&F line, and the former Seaboard Airlines Vidalia sub, now Genesee and Wyoming's Heart of Georgia, or HOG. This convergence made Cordele a railfan hotspot, and city leaders have made the most of it. A railroad park complete with a paved parking lot and a viewing platform oriented toward the Triple Diamonds, all with concrete sidewalks and beautiful landscaping. The place was hot enough that Virtual Railfan has a 24/7 streaming camera here. In a short while, down comes M541. Let's try again to get a shot of that bell on this one. Engine 3240 has an E-bell mounted on the fuel tank. There it is. And that's a Wabco signal box right in the way. Oh well. M541 is a lot of mixed freight out of Queensgate Yard in Cincinnati for Waycross, Georgia, stopping to work as many as 5 yards along its way. 4.5 minutes later, 541 has cleared Cordele on his way south. I did a pretty extensive video on Cordele a few years back. It's got a lot more trains and some of the Sam Short Line's operations. Later that morning, Liz and I drifted farther south down the GS&F about 64 miles to Adel. The NS does a hefty small-town business here. The yard is sandwiched between 2 residential streets, perfect for rail fanning. Train G63 was switching cars when we pulled up. G63, the G for Georgia division, works here at Adel and then runs up to Araby, working customers along the way. Engine 3379 is an EMD SD40-2, built in 1978 for Conrail. Fortunately for us, the engine is turned long hood forward this morning, putting the fireman side and the bell toward us. For some reason, which I have not yet learned, locomotive bells are nearly always mounted on the fireman's side of the engine, except in one case that I'll show you in just a minute. The fireman's side is the left side of the locomotive as you face forward toward the front. Some these days call it the conductor's side. This is a classic diesel engine bell, shaped like a church bell, and the striker or clapper driven by air pressure. So, the bell on a railroad locomotive is pretty much to warn people or animals nearby on the ground that the locomotive is moving or about to move. It's a lower volume signal than the engine horn, which is the warning that's used when the train is moving at speeds faster than a slow walk. This is Amtrak 41, southbound Floridian, coming into Tampa's Navy Y, where they're turning around to make the backing move into Tampa Union Station.
Joe 91, crossing Jackson, clear above track. That's one car. Car protected, clear above track, shuffle one car, get up 91.
Here, we can really hear the bell. But as far as seeing it, I couldn't find it on either side of the engine. Its distinct ragged tone tells us it's an electronic bell, and it's up under there somewhere, but I couldn't see it on either locomotive.
Line onto the main, got approach, TN, clear for 50, 50 cars. Alright, lined up, approach at TN, clear for 50.
Back at 78th Street in Tampa, I waited for anything to pass where I could get a shot of the bell from the sunny side. That would mean an engine pointed south so that the fireman's side would be facing me. It was L77924, the daily S-line switcher to Plant City and back. Engine 2001 is an EMD GP38-3, refitted in 2014 with a new cab, PTC, and other upgrades. The two yellow strobe lights on the cab roof tell us this can be a remote control unit, but it's being used in the conventional way today. As he comes onto the crossing, we get a pretty good look at the E-bell, which isn't actually a bell at all. It's a loudspeaker that plays a recording or sample of a bell. I get why railroads have switched to these things. They're probably cheaper to purchase and have no moving parts to wear out or maintain. We make one more try at the north side of the yard. This is the ACL side entrance to Uceda and Yeoman Yards. Here's the A-line switcher to Plant City, L780. Engine 6507 is a GP40-3, another remote control capable engine refurbished with a new cab, PTC, and electric handbrake upgrade, and an E-bell replacing the old pneumatic. This Wabtec Graham White E-bell and its like are rapidly becoming standard equipment on American railroad locomotives. I'll be on the lookout in the future for shots of E-bells and real percussive chime bells on locomotives, so maybe I'll update this video then. Speaking of bells, make sure you hit that one at the bottom of the screen. That will notify you whenever I post a new video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Share this video with your friends if you can. Write your comments and your questions in the comment section down below. I read them all and reply to as many as I can. And be sure to make plans to meet me again soon, somewhere out there on the high iron. And until that happens, this is Danny Harmon, out.